Thank you very much, Mr. Adegbemile, for joining us. In just 1 week, the national grid has collapsed twice, and with that comes a lot of losses. You've been within the power sector for a while. Can you, in simple terms, tell us what could be responsible for the frequent drop in power generation?
Wow. That's a very big assignment that you just handed over to me.
You can just try, give it a go.
Because even the people at the helms of our affairs, interestingly, about a week ago, we're just celebrating over 400 and something, 410 days of no grid collapse, and suddenly now we've had two within the last 5 days. Interestingly, the first one was, the cause of the first one was a fire incident that happened on KNG Jeba 132 kV line, 330 kV line, 330 kV line. Then, of course, recently we've also heard from the grapevines, it's not been confirmed yet, but from the grapevines, we've heard that there was some sort of vandalism in Kano. That was yesterday overnight. Unfortunately, we've not had any official statement as to the cause of this recent collapse that we're experiencing.
Are folks in your circle concerned when government representatives say that they're going to do an investigation and report back? Because if we do not know why these things are happening, how do we find solutions? Are you worried that up until now, it's been a few days really, we don't know the issues surrounding the fire that was an explosion that the minister said occurred previously?
Well, again, there is no official statement, that confirms exactly what happened and led to the fire incidents. What the situation we are, everybody is forced to is to be second guessing. We have people coming up with with information that there is supposed to be a cutout. Once we have all these kind of issues, are going to shut down the system and isolate it and everything. But you see, I think where the big issue lies here is, on one hand, the setup that we have with a transmission network on its own. I am one person that has been at the vanguard of calling for us to break down our national grid, and the argument is very simple. A lot of people don't understand it. They keep saying, well, our grid is not as big as England's, that's doing over 70,000 megawatts and stuff like that. But I think what is wrong here is that we have a grid that is unstable. We have a grid that has faulty foundation. We have a grid that that needs to span Nigeria that is several times bigger than the UK that these people are pointing at as example. Maybe not in terms of capacity that we are carrying on that grid, but in terms of the spread, the landmass we need to cover, and with the little resources and with the little power that we're putting on the grid. Experts have also argued that we have a grid that is not cyclical, that is not completely cyclical. So what it means is that it's fault somewhere in Uyu, for instance, or a fault somewhere in Jeba, like the one we experienced recently, will affect every arm of Nigeria. Every corner of Nigeria will be affected. So it shuts down the grid, and instability anywhere shuts down the whole national grid. So what we're saying is there's so much to be spent. There's so much money investment that we're looking for to make our grid, to standardize our grid and to modernize it. But the funny thing is that we are not, that fund is not coming in from anywhere. So why don't you put these things in modules that we can easily develop and probably add up later?
But there's something, some of the agitation you've mentioned, the president has seemed to listen, and he has said, go ahead, to states to begin the generation of electricity if they can. But there is a concern among your circles that as long as distribution is centralized through the national grid, the situation may not change. My first question would be, do you agree with this? And if you do, what alternatives do you refer?
All right. The recent Electricity Act that enables states, to generate power is a very beautiful one. But like I keep saying, and at every opportunity that I have, the provision itself does not automatically, lead to, it's not like a silver bullet, that solve the problem that we are looking for. I mean that we are facing. For example, we have foreign states like Lagos State, like Edo State, like a couple of other states that are trying to do something. But the question is, for us to get results from these states, we are not talking about the next 4, 5, 6 years. So it's not an immediate solution to the problem that we have on the ground. But I am imagining a situation where we are isolating the Southwest state, for instance. I'm going per geopolitical region. The Southwest state, for instance, we're able to isolate them from the national grid. What that does is that any power that is being fed into them, it's going to be stable. Funds that we need to standardize and modernize that geolocated grid is going to be limited, and we can see immediate results. Okay. Unlike, where we are trying to do improvement. I mean, there is a whole side in the northeast of Nigeria that is completely regressive in terms of infrastructure and development and equipment.
So how do we even begin, as briefly as you can, how do we even begin to really address this problem in the immediate to long term?
I'm going to say this. Now, this is more like, how will I put it, conspiracy theory, but take it or leave it. We've had a situation, we've had the new power minister that his first assignment that he considered very important is for him to travel to do energy transition and whatever in agriculture in Korea. We are not sufficient energy-wise. So why are we talking about transition yet? Again, that is another argument entirely. But the question here is, what I would have expected from the minister was for him to sit down with all the stakeholders and say, hey, transmission, what is happening? What are your challenges? Distribution, what are your challenges? Consumers, what are your challenges? Generation, what are your challenges? How do we marry? How do we synchronize so that we look at, what are these resources that we have on ground that we can easily maximize?
At the heart of it is a proper communication and understanding of the challenges and where we can begin to step in. All right,
exactly. You need to understand what the challenges are before you can now come up with policies that can address these challenges. He didn't do that. It was today.
All right, I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there for. I'm sorry, we'll have to leave it there for now. Yes, thank you so much for speaking with us.
It's all right. You're welcome.